Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing the Woman King personal leadership lesson. If you have not seen the movie The Woman King, you need to go and see it, and I'm sure those of you who've seen it already, you liked it. If you didn't like it, give me the reason in the comment section why you didn't like it. But I saw the movie, I love it. It was very inspiring, and so inspiring that I thought I should do a video on personal leadership lessons that we can learn from the movie. Let me talk about personal leadership lessons first. Personal leadership is about how you can take your life from where you are to where you want to be. Okay, this movie provides us a lot of great opportunity. This movie, The Woman King, is a story of an African general who rose to become African general of an all-female African warrior unit that rose to become king. Yes, she became king. You have to watch the movie to find out why she became king and not maybe queen, okay? But there's a reason in the movie, and they focus on that particular reason. But what we want to focus on in this video today is really talk about what can you learn from this movie to take your life from where it is to where you want it to be. Personal leadership lessons from The Woman King. The Woman King is played the general herself, Naniska is the name of the general, played by Viola Davis, amazing, phenomenal actor, one of my favorite actors. And so she really, her dynamism really plays the role really well, and she shows us a lot of things. She goes through a lot. The general herself go through a lot from the time she was a warrior to becoming a general and ultimately becoming a king. She goes through a lot of difficulty. She faced a lot of obstacles. She even experienced trauma, and so the movie is about how she navigate all of these things to be able to actually become king of the Dahomey people. Okay, first lesson number one is how she turns trauma into triumph, right? How she turns trauma into triumph. Now, we all have trauma. We've experienced trauma in our life, either a very devastating situation, abuse, neglect, or just violence that we encounter. These things are trauma. And in the movie, she experienced trauma. At one point when she was a warrior, she was captured and she was tortured and raped, okay? She managed to escape and continue her life. Now, we respond differently to trauma. For some of us, the violence we experience, the neglect or abuse that we experience may make us bitter. It may make some of us violent towards other people. Others, it will cause them to experience and live a fearful life. However, there are people on the other hand, and especially the Naniska in this movie, it inspired her. It drove her to live a better life. It drove her to devote her life to serving other people. It drove her, it gave her pain, became her passion for freedom for herself and for her people. And so it led her to greatness. Her mess that she experienced turned into a mission for her. Like, this particular trauma that I'm experiencing, being captured and molested, I want to, because I was able to be freed from it, I will devote the rest of my life to ensuring that none of my people experience this anymore. So trauma, we experience trauma in different ways. We respond to it in different ways. But in this movie, she decided that she will respond to it in a positive way, that her mess will become her mission. Now, so that really teaches us and tells us that it's not what you go through, but it is how you respond to what you went through. Okay, you cannot control the circumstances of life. Life will throw all kinds of curveballs at you, but you have to be able to choose your response to it. You have to be able to do that. And her response in this movie was to take her pain and really use it as a passion that drive her to fight for the freedom of her people. Okay, out of her pain came a lot of good for the people of Dahomey. Okay, I don't know what trauma you've been through today, but the question is, what is your trauma doing to you? Is it causing you to live a bitter life? Is it causing you to live a violent life against other people? Or is it inspiring you to really do all you can to ensure that other people do not go through what you went through? That's lesson number one from this movie, is she turned her trauma into triumph. Okay, what are you doing with your trauma? Second thing I noticed in the movie is her devotion. This lady is devoted to the king. She is also devoted to the freedom of her people. She has something greater than herself, that she has an unwavering focus and devotion to. Okay, it's very, very important. She's so devoted to the king and to the freedom of her people that she puts her body, even her body, in situations like war, just to be able to show that devotion. This lady is so devoted that she fights for her king to become king. Here is one of the places where her devotion really stands out, that she really, really will do everything and anything to serve her king and to serve her people. This lady, when she was raped, she became pregnant and had a child. But because she's so much, that child was going to stop her from continuing to serve the king, she had to give the child away. Now, I know this is ethically and morally controversial. I know there's going to be a lot of discussion about her action in that movie. Yes, I totally get it. I agree with some of you and what you're already saying. But what I want to focus on here is the metaphorical aspect of it. What does it represent to us in modern life? Now, as I just watched that, I thought about mothers, a lot of mothers who give birth to their children, but yet still they have that passion to build a better life for themselves and ultimately for their child. And so they may take their child and leave their child at daycare just so they can continue to go to school, or just so they can continue to work. Now, do not for a moment think that separation is easy. Okay, it is not easy for a mother to separate from her child, even if that child is even going to daycare. But then I've also known mothers who will leave their children with a relative, maybe their mother, their aunt in another state, just to go and seek a better opportunity elsewhere. I know, heck, even in other countries, okay? I've known mothers who've left their toddlers in other countries to seek better, greener pasture, a better life for themselves, and ultimately for their children. These people are so devoted to their children. So as I reflect upon what Nanisha did when she had that baby, leaving that baby alone, I think about what went on in her head. She probably was thinking about, if I cling on to this child and this child grow up, what kind of world will this child live in? I would rather give this child to someone else who can raise this child and be able to devote my life to fighting for a free Dahomey kingdom, that this child can live as a free person. Okay, it's really gray area kind of thing, but one of the things it does show me is that this woman was devoted to a better life for herself. She was devoted to a better life for her people, and ultimately, whether you agree with me or not, she was devoted for a better life for that particular baby that she had. And because she was willing to give up things that was dear to her. It pained her. She cried very bitter when she had to separate from her child. And so it was not an easy choice. It didn't seem an easy choice to me. And I know that was such a sacrifice of devotion that she was making. What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to sacrifice to be able to move forward and seize the life that the better life that you need for yourself, for your children, for your family? You will have to make sacrifices if you will be able to achieve the kind of dreams that you are looking for. Okay, you got to be able to let certain things go. Sacrifice is a part of success. Okay, what will you let go? What is it that will hold you back? That will make it difficult for you to move faster and further? Is it a relationship that is holding you back? Is it a habit that is holding you back? Whatever it is, you have to make sacrifice and let certain things go. It might be difficult, but you must do it if you will move forward. So this lady showed tremendous devotion through the sacrifice that she made of giving her daughter away. But she also was she was a part of a unit that required that she was celibate. So she had also given she sacrificed even the possibility of having a husband, having a child, a family of her own. That in and of itself was also a sacrifice. She was willing to let certain things go in order for her to get the things that she wanted and where she wanted to go. Sacrifice, very, very key here, very key, point, as I watched this particular movie. I mean, it goes hand in hand with devotion and just how much she was committed to her cause, committed to serve the king, committed to serving her people, committed to creating a better world for the Dahomey people. Then I also see in this movie, the third thing I see in this movie is that she took advantage of redemptive opportunity. Yes, she had, first of all, in the second point, she had to do what she had to do, like we say, right? She had to do what she had to do. Yeah, difficult choices she had to make. She had to cut certain things off. But when she got closer to where she was going in terms of her goals, she realized that some of the choices that she made had caused gap in her life, and she had lost certain things in her life, like a daughter and what have you. And this daughter re-emerges into her life, and she now sees an opportunity to go and get that daughter back, to reclaim, to repossess what the past had taken away from her. She sees that opportunity, and nothing was going to stop her. She was willing to defy even the king in the process of going to save her daughter and reunite with this daughter that she had lost before, gained at one point, and was losing again. And she's like, I am not going to lose my daughter this time. And so in your life, there may have been times when you had to make certain choices and let certain things go, just make sacrifices just for you to be able to advance yourself. But you get to a certain place now and you need to now redeem those particular things. Certain people were so laser focused on their career, they let their body go and their health go. It's probably time to redeem your health. Certain people focus so much maybe on just really taking the family out of poverty and really making enough money that it affected their relationship, maybe with their parents or with their significant other. But you're making money now. Can you look for an opportunity to redeem, those relationships, those bridges that were broken, or, those gaps that were created? You need to look for redemptive moment in your life and reclaim the important things that you had to sacrifice in the past in order for you to move forward. So she took advantage of redemptive moment. Fourth thing I see in this movie is that she had to deal with her demons in order to rise to the highest. She had to deal with her demons of the past in order for her to rise to the highest. Now, her demons of her past is metaphorically represented by the general from the Oyo Empire, the guy who captured her and the guy who raped her and tortured her. This guy keeps showing up in her life every time. As a matter of fact, the first time I saw this very brave General Naniska freeze in her tracks is when she was in the presence of this guy after, after she's been raped, she's been released, she's now risen to the position of a general. This guy shows up and she freezes in her tracks, which is to tell you that the demons of your past, if they have not been dealt with before, they will re-emerge and they will have the same impact on you. They will freeze you. They will stifle your greatness if you do not deal with them. Now, these demons from your past can represent episodes in your past that you're ashamed of, or habits or tendencies that will lead you to do things that are not good, maybe addictive habits and things of that sort that will lead you to do things that are not good, or weaknesses that are likely to bring you from your height of greatness and bring you back down. Whatever your demons may be, it is important that you identify those demons. It is important that you get help in dealing with those demons, so that you can be able to resolve whatever it is from your past. Deal with it, find healing, strengthen those areas of weakness, because you will not be able to rise to your highest if your demons are still lurking in your closet, lurking in your past, because they will re-emerge always and take you down a very dark path. As you start to rise, they will re-emerge. As you start to rise, they will re-emerge and bring you back down to earth. So you have to face them head on. You have to deal with them. Like she had to fight this guy. And it was not one fight that brought him down. I think it was 3 different clashes with him that finally brought him down. And they were not easy fight. They were difficult. We have to face those very, very difficult things that we are dealing with. Those things from our past. It may be difficult to handle. It may be difficult to resolve. And like I said, if we have to, get professional help, because you can only rise to the level of your weakness. But if you are able to deal with that weakness, you'll rise as high as you've shown up to rise. Okay? Very important, dealing with the demons from your past. Do not sweep them under the rug. Do not keep suppressing them. They will come out at times when you least expect, and they will bring you to your knees. Okay? Now, so she dealt with the demons from her past. Number 5, I see in this movie that this woman was driven by understanding and not by fear. Okay, we all have fears. Okay, we all have fear. Fears will take over us. Fear is a good thing sometimes because it warns us of danger, but fear usually will take over certain people, and people become overly cautious to the extent that they freeze and that they become inert and not able to do anything for themselves. But you need to control fear, and one of the ways that I saw that she controlled her fear was through understanding. Understanding will bring your fear down to size. I did another video in which I talk about controlling your emotions and how rational emotive therapy works. How you question the thinking behind your fear. In this movie, however, the strategy that she used and the way she understood her enemy and approached battle really helped her to control her fear. In the final battle, as all of the other units are cringing at the size of the Oyo battalion, she is standing there calm as ever and ready to go to war, because she understood one thing. She understood that size can be a disadvantage. Malcolm Gladwell deals with this extensively in his book David and Goliath. Okay, size can be a disadvantage. She spit it out. Exactly what Malcolm Gladwell said. She said that, hey, because they're big, they will be sluggish and ineffective. And that is true. Sometimes size make you sluggish. Your heart is harder to move, and harder for decisions, and harder to change directions, and all of that kind of thing. So size can be a disadvantage. And so what she does as a general there, she mashes her advantage to exploit their disadvantage, okay? And by that, she was able to win that battle that broke the yoke of the Oyo Empire on the Dahomey people. She used understanding. I want you to isolate the things that makes you afraid the most, and sit down and apply understanding to it. Why am I afraid of this thing? Is it truly that it is going to lead to this for me? And as you start to question your fear, you start to undermine its power over you. And eventually you rise to a place of understanding where your fear is now marginalized, and you can move in strategy and attack and deal with the situations that used to once cause you to be frightened. Okay? So she used fear in place, she used understanding, in place of fear in this particular movie. Number 6, she was a fighter. Let me tell you, life, the things that you most desire will not be handed to you on a platter, okay? Some people are lucky. Some people are born in families where everything they want is handed to them. But that is not the majority of us. Everything you truly desire, you will have to fight for it, because life, there will be people, there will be institutions who will try to put roadblocks before you, who will try to take away the things that you've worked hard for, and the things that you desire the most. That will stand before you and those things. And you, if you truly desire those things, you will have to fight. You will have to demonstrate persistency. You will have to go after the things you want with aggression. You will have to keep persistently going after it with strategy, with actions, and just make sure that you are engaging and advancing, to take the things that are duly yours. You cannot just sit down and expect good things to happen to you. You cannot just sit down and expect the life that you want to just materialize for you. You have to get up. You have to fight for it. Okay? You have to fight for it. Adversities will come, trials and tribulation will come, obstacle will come, and as these things come, you need to look for ways to navigate it, keep your eyes on the goal, and continue to go for it. This lady, General Nanisca, had to fight. She fought to bring the king to power. She fought for her people. She put her body at risk. She put herself in danger. But she did it skillfully and always advancing against the enemy. Okay? Who are your enemies? Who is it that is trying to disturb your peace? Who is it that is trying to keep your prosperity away from you? What is it that is doing this to you? Okay? Now, I'm not talking about anything mystical yet. I'm talking about anything from, what's messing with your energy level, that you can't get up in the morning and go and work out, or you can't get up in the morning and show up to work ready to shine. I'm talking, for example, about, sometimes the IRS would just come and seize your bank account. That's violence, and yeah, do they have a right to do it? Yes, they can lawfully do that. But for those kind of things to happen to you, it really threatens your sense of safety, your sense of economic safety. Those are some of the violence that I'm really talking about. Just being able to assert your place, and get a hold of the kind of things that you want can be difficult. Some of you will have to fight for your relationship, okay? Because relationship is not a walk in the park. And so you have someone in your life, and that person is acting a certain kind of way. You will have to fight to make sure that you have the relationship you want. And by fighting, I don't mean physically fighting, but I mean that consistently and persistently using strategy to do things to ensure that you can have a secure, happy relationship. Okay? Now, what those strategies are, it's a totally different video. But I noticed one thing about this lady is she fought her way from a warrior to a general, from a general to a king. You want a certain kind of life. It's not going to come to you easily. You have to get up and go after it and fight for it. Overcome obstacle, overcome difficulty until you land to that particular place that you're on your way to. So General Naniska was a fighter, okay? Then the seventh thing that I see here is that she was a change agent. This lady was a change agent, because I see in this that she was someone who didn't want to master the game. She wanted to change the game. Yes, and that's one of the things that made her such a great person, was because she didn't just want to master the game, she wanted to change the game. She wanted to change business as usual. The oil, the Dahomey people, her people, were involved in slave trade. She did not like it because this slave trade was threatening them and threatening their neighbors. So she wanted to change the game, and she came up with a totally different economic plan. Now, if they stop doing slave trade today, they will have a better viable alternative. She did not want to master the game. She wanted to change the game. I like that about her. Another thing that shows that she wanted to change the game is the king had given her the seat. He had already appointed her that she will be crowned queen. But for some reason, being crowned queen would have been enough for other people. It would have been enough for the queen's wife. She wanted that position so bad. But General Naniska, that was not enough for her. It was not enough for her to sit on a throne with a crown on her hand while her people are threatened by the yoke of the Oyo people. For her, she had to do more than just sit as queen. She wanted to make sure she broke the yoke of the Oyo people on the Dahomey people. And so she made sure that even on the day that she was appointed as queen, she defied the orders of the king and went into battle and defeated the Oyo people and broke their back. And it completely changed the entire geopolitical dynamics for them. It changed it. They became a free people, no longer beholden to the Oyo Empire and to the European slavers for some time. I don't know how long, but it brought immediate respite to their situation. She didn't just want to master the game, she wanted to change the game. She was an incredible change agent. Okay? Whatever game you are in today, do not be satisfied with just mastering it. Master it first. Yes, it's important to master it and then creatively change the game. How can you disrupt the game that you are in? What differential advantage do you have to bring to that particular game and leave your mark on it so that people know that it used to be this way, but because of her, it is this way. It used to be, we used to do things this way, but because of him, we would now do it this way. Do not be satisfied with mastering the game, but strive to change the game. That was number 7. She changed the game. Number 8, she had an identity. Identity was critical to General Naniska here. And whenever she trained her troops, she made sure she repeat the identity to them, because this was very vital. Your identity is vital. She told them that they were the sword of victory and the blade of freedom. Man, that was just so powerful to me, because your identity really is who you are deep down. It is that what you know that you are, not what you feel that you are, not what you aspire to be, but who you know that you are. And because who you know that you are affects what you do subconsciously. You will find yourself doing certain things without knowing why you do it, but you do it because it is who you know that you are. And so having an identity that is really aligned with your mission in life and with your vision in life helps you tremendously. Because here is a difference between someone who deep down in themselves they know they're a loser, or deep down in their heart they know they're a winner. If a loser comes into encounter with something difficult and dangerous, he quits. When a warrior or fighter comes in contact with something dangerous and difficult, they prepare to fight and to conquer. That's the difference between, and that's the importance, and that's the power of identity. Identity will determine whether you move forward or whether you quit. And so it's important that you establish an identity for yourself. And so as she trained her soldiers, she made sure that she instilled within them a certain identity. So they went onto the battlefield knowing that they were the sword of victory and that they were the blade of freedom. And that identity inspired them to fight with all their might, knowing that they fought for a great cause. What identity have you chosen for yourself? You need to clarify what that identity is, and you need to eternalize that identity with a deep sense of certainty, because that identity will move you in the direction of your identity. Okay? Now, whether you want to say that I am a successful businessman making a very positive impact in my community, that's an identity right there. You see what I'm saying? So your identity has to be tied to your mission. Okay? What mission are you on? Why do you feel you are on earth? Why do you feel you show up? Why do you exist? So your identity has to be crafted to your unique mission, and make sure that it is clear, repeat it, eternalize it and hold it with certainty, and it will affect your actions, it will affect your result, it will affect your legacy. Okay? She had an identity. Number 9, I see that she had emotional competence. This lady had a wide range of emotional repertoire. She knew how to be happy for her soldiers on the day of their, the day of the tryouts. She also knew how to cry when she was, feeling very emotional, but she cried in private and in the presence of her trusted confidant, But then there were also times that, in public, she exuded bravery. She was stoic at certain times. This lady understood how to manage her emotions, knowing how to express appropriate emotions, but also knowing how to use her emotions to get her what she wanted. She also knew how to leverage her emotion to move other people to do things that they needed to do, to throw themselves at sword. Now that's emotional competence, when you can control your emotions and manage your emotions and use your emotion to invoke passion in other people, to be able to move them to do things that is even dangerous for them. Then you're emotionally competent, and she was emotionally competent. And that's something that a lot of us are lacking. We're intelligent, but we're not emotionally competent. And I have a whole video on emotional competence. Check that video out. Has a lot of great examples that you can, tips and tricks and skill that you can develop to be able to do those things. But this lady, Nanishka, she was emotionally competent. Number 10, she had meaningful relationship. Now, she had sort of vow of celibacy, so she didn't have a husband, but this lady ensured that she had meaningful relationship that just helped her to grow and become the person that she wanted to become. She had a group of young women that she trained all the time, pouring all that she knew into these people. But then she also had an equal, a companion or a confidant, someone who was close to her and she would tell her deepest secret. And that person can also who could also hold her accountable. And so this companion of hers, forgot her name, Amenza. Amenza is her name, and Amenza was always by her side, saw her in her vulnerable moment. She shared her deepest secret with her, and they saw through life together. Even Amenza was the one who assisted her with her baby when she first gave birth. So this was a friend, a true friend. And then she had the king, who she looked up to, and someone who was pulling her up to another level. Anybody who will take themselves from one level to where they want to be need to have these three relationship categories in their life. People that you're pouring into, people who can hold you accountable, friends who can hold you accountable, you can be vulnerable with, and people above you who can pull you up to where they are. You got to have those three levels of meaningful relationships in your life. She had those in her life. Incredibly beautiful, and those people really impacted her in many ways. Even the people who she was pouring into her life, there was some sort of symbiotic relationship between them, because even she was learning from them. Okay, that's one of the things that I noticed in this. She was never too big to learn. As much as she was a general, she was open to learn from the cadets that she was training, and that one or two of them had some new ideas, and she picked up on the new ideas, and she was able to use the ideas she learned about ballistic to win her last critical victory. So she was never too big to learn. And that's just a really, really important trait. She didn't feel she had arrived. She didn't feel like she was, at a place where she knew it all. She felt open to learn from this relationship, and that really that made her a very effective leader. Finally, so many lessons in this movie, but I'm just gonna leave it here with this final one, that she showed us that in order to rise to where you ultimately want to be, you have to be given to service to other people. Okay, you need to give your life in service to other people in order to rise. The way up is the way down. On your knees, serving other people. Roll up your sleeves, get down there and serve other people is how you rise to the top. And that's what she showed in here. She had served the king, and it was because of her fighting that the king became he was enthroned as king. And the eunuch, the butler of the king, mentioned that to one of the girls who was jealous because Nanishka had so much respect from the king. She was like, why does she have so much respect for the king? But this lady has served the king with everything she had. She fought so hard for the ascendancy of this particular king. And because of that, she won respect. And ultimately, she won herself a seat by the king. But she also served the people of the Dahomey Empire. For her life mission was the freedom, the protection, and the freedom of these people. You have to find a group of people who you can be so passionate about meeting in order for you to rise up. Let me tell you one thing. I tell people always that because, as a businessman, my focus really is providing solution. And the quality of the solution that I provide will depend on the amount of money that I make and the amount of impact that I make in the industry that I serve. Okay? Same thing with Nanishka. She was so passionate about serving the people of her kingdom. She did it with all her might, and she never rested until these people were liberated and these people were free. And it is that devotion to that particular end that led to her ascendancy as king, the woman king. Guys, amazing movie. If you have not seen the movie, you have to go and see the movie today, because you will be inspired by it. But these are just 11 different lessons that you can use in your personal life. As you watch that movie, watch out for these lessons and see how you can apply it to your life to be able to take your life from where you are to where you want to be. Go and be great.